Exciting news if you are a fan of the POCO phone, or POCO as it's known in some markets. It looks like they officially announced today that they will become an independent brand. So when the POCO phone first came out, it was a really big hit and a lot of people went for this phone. It definitely followed what OnePlus were doing, which was giving a flagship chipset, a good overall package, not the best cameras, but most importantly, a really cheap price. The POCO phone F1 was a huge hit in the markets that it sold in, and ever since then people have been looking for a successor to that phone. They've been looking to Redmi and Xiaomi, but nothing has come. Today we got some news on what POCO are going to be doing. POCO will become an independent brand according to Xiaomi, and this is slightly different to how Redmi operate. Xiaomi of course is the main company who has controlling stakes in all of these other companies. Redmi is a sub-brand of Xiaomi, mostly concentrated on India. But Redmi also has its own branding, and the K20 series for most people was the successor to the POCO phone. What is very different is that Xiaomi said that POCO will be completely independent, which means they'll be separate from Xiaomi, separate from Redmi, and be completely their own brand with their own marketing, their own products, which probably means we can expect more than one new product from them in the near future. So what products can we expect? Well, obviously we need a successor to the POCO F1. However, things have changed in recent years with the advent of 5G and 5G chipsets, especially flagship chipsets. Things have got really expensive. The big problem is that the entire world right now doesn't want or need 5G. There aren't many 5G networks around the world, but chipsets have 5G, especially the new Snapdragon 865, which has to be bought with the 5G processor, increasing the price. It is an expensive chipset, and that means the POCO phone will have to factor that in to the overall package. We also have really good flagship killer phones. For example, the Redmi K20 series are still amazing phones in my opinion and a good buy even now. And then you have Realme, who have just taken India and Southeast Asia by storm and are going great guns in all of those markets, and also have pretty much the world's second biggest smartphone maker to back them up. Whilst POCO phones seem to be splitting away from Xiaomi, which means we don't know how much funding or support they're going to get from Xiaomi to make phones with a low margin and spend a lot on advertising. So what do I expect a POCO phone successor to be? Absolutely, number one, a Snapdragon 865. I also think that most people want OLED displays these days, and also some sort of high refresh rate. It doesn't need to be 120 Hz, but 90 Hz would be a solid spec. No wireless charging is really needed in a phone like this, and around about 20 or 30 watt fast charging would be absolutely fine for that product. When it comes to the cameras, a really good main camera is needed, for example the Sony IMX686. You should add an ultra wide too because it's very useful, but a 2x zoom camera, a macro sensor and a time of flight sensor are good to have but not necessary. That overall would be a really good setup and keep to POCO's vision of having everything you need and nothing you don't, whilst keeping the price as low as possible. So how about timelines for a possible POCO phone successor? I wouldn't expect anything too soon because the Snapdragon 865 is still a very new chipset, which means it's still very expensive. Using the Snapdragon 865 towards the end of this year would mean that it would be discounted by Qualcomm. You could get a much better deal and you could spend the money on other hardware in the phone. Of course, we don't know what POCO are going to do. It looks like they're an independent company right now focusing on the Indian smartphone market. We also don't know if they're going to create their own software on top of Android or use MIUI for the next few years, possibly changing a couple of years after. The POCO phone definitely created waves when it first came, and I am excited to see what POCO do as an independent company. And as always, I'd love to know your thoughts. Subscribe for the latest tech news and tech videos. That's it for now, but I'll see you in the next one.